Create Hibernate SQL and JPA query result set mapping in Java development. Introduction. JPQL is one of the most powerful languages for SQL to write the queries which will execute on all databases. In most complex cases, JPQL is not powerful enough to write the queries we need to depend on the SQL native queries or stored procedures as well. The downside of these is, it will return list instead of returning list of entity classes. Each object array will hold the single row of the result set. We need to iterate this array, and cast each object to a specific type, and map them to a model. Next, let's see what is Hibernate. Hibernate is a framework in Java that comes with an abstraction layer and handles the implementations internally. The implementations include tasks like writing a query for CRUD operations or establishing a connection with the databases, etc. Hibernate develops persistence logic, which stores and processes the data for longer use. It is lightweight and an ORM tool, and most importantly open source, which gives it an edge over other frameworks. What is an ORM tool? It is a technique that maps the objects stored in the database. An ORM tool simplifies data creation, manipulation, and access. It internally uses the Java API to interact with the databases. Below you can see the work of ORM tool. Why do we use Hibernate in Java? Hibernate reduces lines of code by maintaining object table mapping itself and returns results to applications in form of Java objects. It relieves programmers from manual handling of persistent data, hence reducing the development time and maintenance cost. How does Hibernate work in Java? Hibernate takes care of mapping Java classes to database tables using XML files and without writing any line of code. Provides simple APIs for storing and retrieving Java objects directly to and from the database. If there is the change in the database or in any table, then you need to change the XML file properties only. Mapping in Hibernate. Hibernate mappings are one of the key features of Hibernate. They establish the relationship between two database tables as attributes in your model. That allows you to easily navigate the associations in your model and criteria queries. Types of Hibernate mapping. 1. Hibernate default mapping. This is the easiest way of mapping the result of the query to an entity class. We can use creative query, string SQL string, class result class, method to return list object. Where result class indicates the entity to which result should be mapped. Check out the example mentioned below. 2. Hibernate custom mapping. When the automatic mapping is not possible, like using some alias names or joining of column values, or if the query result needs to map to multiple entities, then these default mapping will not work. We need to write some custom mapping. This mapping can be done in two ways. Either we can write in an annotation style, or we can write orm.xml and place it in the met.inf folder so that the JPA provider will parse this, and the mappings. First, we will understand with default mapping in a custom mapping way. So, we will write a SQL result set mapping without using JPQL query, understand how to use field results. Check out the example below. We used the author mapping SQL result set mapping name for mapping query result to the author entity. So, we need to write the @SQL result set mapping annotation with the author mapping name. If we are using Java 7 or below versions, then no support for @repeatable annotations. Let's understand about constructor mapping. Let's suppose below is the join query. We want to map each result row to book and author class. If the same property name exists, we can use some alias name in either of the entities. Here, we can observe that the result set has been required fields/columns from two different entities, i.e. book and author. For this, we required a separate Java class book value to map the values from the result set. We can use the below mapping for mapping book class using field result mapping, and book value using constructor result mapping. Let's check the example below. Based on use cases, either we can use constructor result mapping or field result mapping. Last word. Here, Java Application Development Company explains how JPA specification provides a way to map custom queries to entities using field result and constructor result. Also, describe how you can specify these mapping either using an XML file or annotations provided by JPA specifications. For more information, contact us. Thank you.